Okay, hey there YouTubers. This is a video update on how my gourds are doing growing on my front lawn. And right there in the center of the screen you can see a long neck gourd. That is, the bottom of it is probably about, I don't know, maybe 20 feet in the air. And I'm going to guess that it's, I don't know, maybe, looking at it, I'd say it's probably about 4 feet long. So that bottom piece right there is probably a little, maybe about the size of a softball, and then that long handle stretches up. And I'm going to take a step back just so you can get an appreciation for the height of that here. So it is about that high up in the tree, it's a tree out in front of our house. And the vines themselves are growing all the way up. These trees from the town are really, scrappy. Not much leaves grow on them. They're pink for 1 week in April every year, and then the rest of the year they look pretty lousy. But the only areas that are really still green on these trees right now are where the vines, which I planted down at the base, grew up the trees. And where you see that kind of lush green at the top of the tree, and the same is true on the other trees as well, that is the vines of the gourd. So I guess I've had a lot of vine growth. I mean, that vine is growing, 40 feet up in the air there. This gourd, I'm not exactly sure how I'm going to get that down. I may have to climb the tree or something. And there's another smaller one up there as well. I don't know if you can, that's the big one, and there's a smaller one just up around there somewhere. I can't see it quite through the camera, but at any rate, so those are two of the long neck gourds that are growing there. And I also have planted at the base of this tree out here, closer to the corner. And again, I don't know if you can appreciate, but the lush green growth at the top of the tree is the vines of the gourd itself. And I'm just going to take a quick show over here, so bear with me while I show the next part of my garden here, which is right here. This is a basketball hoop that we weren't really using. Had a gourd planted at the base of that, and you can see that the gourd has grown up. However tall that is, I don't know, maybe that's 15 or so feet high up there. And I have a grid out there, which is a trellis made of remesh. And in here I do have some gourds that are growing. These are shorter gourds without the big long neck. But you can see a nice one there. And there's another one up in there if you can see it. They start off as kind of small. And then, they grow from there. It's just my neighbor saying hi. Here's another one here. Definitely one of the things I noticed since I started gardening out front is that I see my neighbors a lot more. They say hi, they come over, we chat. It definitely adds to the sense of community. Anyway, so I've got, maybe 3 or 4 gourds in there, but a lot of vine growth. And this is just dying back. Right now it is the last week in September. But up until about a week ago, this whole trellis area here was just filled with lush green growth. And it's just starting to die back right now. In fact, I would say I got a lot more of the vegetative green growth than I did gourds. Now, up here, I have my front yard raised bed vegetable garden along the length of that 50-foot fence. And I do have a few gourds growing in here among my tomato plants and such, and growing along the fence here. There's a couple of tiny ones here. I doubt that they'll really amount to anything for this year, these tiny ones. And I would say that things got off to a late start here in terms of the growing, in terms of fruit production or gourd production for me this year. And I'm not sure if that was because New Jersey had just an incredible amount of rain this year, or the combination with the heat, but whatever it was, that was the scoop. Now at this end, just walked down the length of the fence, and I have some vines You can just barely see the vines. The leaves have all been falling off. But then dangling out through here, we have another kind of gourd. These are, some kind of ornamental gourds as well. Just kind of dangling here. And gourds in general, you kind of leave them on the vine until the vine dries up, and then it's sort of time to pop them off. Last year I had some of my son, he had some of his friends come over from school or the neighborhood, and prior to Halloween they picked some pumpkins and they picked some gourds and things. I did not do the pumpkins this year, just didn't get around to it. I've been doing a lot of travel and a lot of time at work. But anyway, that is the scoop on the status of my gourds for right now. And the main thing I would say about them is that we had a lot of vine growth, a lot of green vegetative or viney growth this year, but not so much in the way of gourd production. Last year I probably had 3 or 4 times as many gourds, but that's fine. 1 year to the next, things will vary, and either way it's fun growing them and checking them out, and you get what you get. So that's the scoop, and that's the update. As always, happy gardening.